now at 5.
I did 24 and some odd years for something. I believe they knew that I didn't do it.
A Milwaukee man wrongfully convicted of sexual assault is released from prison.
I'm trying to rebuild my life now.
How he was finally exonerated and his message for everybody who sees his story. That is our big story tonight at 5. After more than 2 decades behind a prison wall, DNA evidence exonerates Daryl Dwayne Holloway.
An astounding turn of events, and he did time for a conviction in Milwaukee. He walked out of that Green Bay prison today, a free man. Our AJ Bayatpour was up there when it happened. He's back from Green Bay in the newsroom now. AJ.
Well, Brad, Mary, Holloway is now 48 years old. He's spent half his life in prison, serving out a 120-year sentence. But with the return of that new DNA test, Milwaukee County prosecutors and the very same judge who sentenced him back in 1993 agree to set Holloway free. After nearly a quarter of a century in prison, new DNA tests clear Daryl Dwayne Holloway. Now a free man, Holloway is ready for his first good meal in a long time. What's the first thing you're going to do when you get back home?
Well, we're going out to eat.
What you gonna eat?
Man, steak. I gotta have steak.
Holloway had been convicted of raping 2 women and committing 2 armed burglaries. Holloway wrote to the Wisconsin Innocence Project in Madison, whose co-director says he was disturbed by the evidence or lack thereof. He says the prosecution built its entire case on the victim's story.
Someone who was terribly wronged, truly victimized. But that was essentially the case, and we know that eyewitness testimony is very unreliable under even the most pristine circumstances, and these were far from that.
I needed somebody in my corner that believed in me when I'm telling them something.
Holloway says rock bottom came when he lost his greatest source of support.
I almost gave up hope. When my mother died, I felt everything was gone, you know, because that was my rock.
Holloway says his time in prison also cost him his marriage. The Innocence Project says Holloway now faces another injustice. For federal crimes, those wrongfully convicted are eligible for compensation of $50,000 a year, capped at $1 million. In Wisconsin, it's just $5,000 a year, capped at $25,000.
We are a better people than that. We are more civilized than that. We owe it to people like Mr. Holloway and others, and to all of us, to fix that statute.
Well, there was a bill in the last legislative session to have Wisconsin's payout match the federal one. It even passed the Assembly unanimously, but it died in the state Senate. A spokeswoman today for Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald only said the bill didn't have enough momentum to pass both houses, adding that the senator would review a similar bill should it come up next session. Live in the newsroom this evening, AJ Bayatpour, Fox 6 News.
I'm doing the math, AJ, and basically if he got the full payout from Wisconsin, it would barely come to $1,000 a year for the time he was in prison.
Yep, the Innocence Project again saying that is the injustice that Holloway now faces, even though he's a free man.
AJ, thank you. Daryl Holloway had much more to say than we can squeeze into this newscast. If you go to fox6now.com and the Fox 6 News app, you can watch an extended clip of when he was meeting with reporters. It's right there on our homepage.